First, it's I don't want to get into specifics. Then there's no classified information, and now there's this.
It's bad, bad, bad. And the harder they spin, the worse it is. And they know how bad it is. You can see it in their faces. You can hear it in their tone. You can see how they're rattled when they're asked questions by the reporters. Because everybody down to the lowest private in the military knows this is wrong. The question to ask is not the classification, was it an attack plan? Did you violate operational security? Did you disclose anything that could have potentially harmed anyone? And if you did, you're wrong. And they're all wrong just for being on the chat to begin with. Right? So that they're exposing the information, they're exposing themselves, they're exposing each other. So it's exposure all around. And they just keep digging deeper. But I think it's really important to know that they have to set the standard for the entire military.
Yes.
And if the lowest level of private did this in my infantry unit, they would be removed from the unit, they'd be tried by the UCMJ, and they'd probably be in jail. So why is the Secretary of Defense above that standard? He should not be. That's why he's got to resign or he's got to be fired. And they may all need to resign or be fired. We'll see how far this goes. But just by being there, they are wrong. And what a great week for Putin again. What a great week for our enemies again. It's constant chaos, it's constant mayhem, and it's constant chaos and mayhem around the Pentagon and our national security. Just last week, we were talking about Elon Musk maybe or maybe not getting a classified briefing on China. Last week, they laid off 60,000. They announced that they're going to lay off 60,000 people at the Pentagon. We had the Jackie Robinson Tuskegee Airmen debacle. We had the trans purge blocked by a federal judge. We also had the chairman of the Joint Chiefs fired and all the senior legal leaders. It's constant chaos, and chaos is good for no one except our enemies. And our troops are being demoralized. This impacts recruiting. And at the end of the day, we are all less safe because of it. And that's got to be the real center focus of all this. They're caught. And they know it. And now they're going to play pin the tail on the donkey or the finger pointing thing. But some of them are going to go down. And they should, because it's putting lives of our troops at risk.
There also is obviously a political moment that we find ourselves in. This is a party that used to pride itself on being hawks, on caring about national security. And now they're like, so we use Signal to share attack plans. No big deal.
And it used to be a party of honor and competence, right? And I think the real issue here with Hegseth is that he was always not just unqualified, but disqualified. And there was a question of his competence. How sloppy was he going to be? Well, now we see. And that's the culture. It is a culture of sloppiness and a culture of incompetence, but also a culture with no honor. Because if they're being honest, they know they screwed up here. They know they're setting a bad example. They know they're setting the wrong leadership climate, and they should own it. So the question is, within the Republican Party especially, Don Bacon is a good example. I think he has honor. Who else has honor? And if you don't have any honor, step aside or history will judge you harshly, because not just the politics of it all is watching, but our troops are watching and our kids are watching. I keep coming back to that. Kids around the world and around our country are looking at these people to tell the truth, to do the right thing. And if you can't do that as the Secretary of Defense, you're in the wrong job and you should be out.
For those of us who have not served, I think you can sort of listen to him and say, is that right? Is that true? For you, having actually spent time, what do you think when you hear him say that?
It's bullshit. It's totally, I'm sorry, I got to say, that's what it is. Everybody's saying it around the whole country who's ever served in uniform. It's garbage. Everybody knows, back to World War II, loose lips sink ships. Right? He can play word games. He's a master communicator, maybe a master manipulator. But the question, again, is did you divulge anything that could have gotten anybody hurt? And he can't answer that question because he knows he's in trouble there. He's going to continue to try to spin it. But I also think it's important to see that they're flustered. He's flustered. And when the Secretary of Defense is flustered, that means our entire Pentagon is impacted. We don't have a chairman of the Joint Chiefs who's gone through. We don't have senior leadership. It doesn't set a calm, steady, strong example. And that's what we need right now to the world. And I think all of the most junior people in the military right now I wish we could do a poll. Go to any military base in America and ask them what they think of this situation. If they could talk honestly, they would say it's garbage and they know it.
I'm intrigued by this conversation about accountability, and our team was trying to figure out what a parallel would be here. And of course, there is none, because we've not had someone in recent memory with this type of security clearance do this. So the most serious breach, most recent breach, was Jack Tejera. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison in November for sharing classified information on private Discord servers to impress an online gaming community. The airman posted classified documents on U.S. intelligence provided to Ukraine, involving South Korea and Israel. His wing commander, Air Force Colonel Sean Riley, received administrative action and was relieved of command. I mean, his wing commander was relieved of command, but they're not talking about any accountability for Hegseth.
No, and that's the standard. The standard should be the same for a National Guard private all the way up to the Secretary of Defense. And the military is built on standards and expectations and rules. And anybody with honor, anybody with competence will know if they broke the rule, they have to take accountability. And the real question is, are they still doing it? Are they still doing it right now? And there have been some examples where I think Trump said Walsh screwed up. Okay, so if they screwed up, what are you doing about it? What changes are you implementing across the force to ensure it doesn't happen again going forward? And you hear nothing about that. So if they really do want to have accountability, they have to talk about changes. They have to admit failure or admit there's a problem, hold someone accountable, and then implement changes across the system to ensure it doesn't happen again. Because not just reporters are listening. It could be foreign assets listening. They thought it was Jeffrey Goldberg. What if it wasn't Jeffrey Goldberg?
Right.
Then we could have had a much bigger problem.